Choir will be singing Thank You Soldiers by Michael and Angela Souders and under the direction of Mr. Jonathan Eust.
Celebrate Veterans Day to honor the millions of men and women who have served or are serving in the nation's armed forces. But bet you didn't know the whole story behind the holiday. For starters, it wasn't originally called Veterans Day, but Armistice Day, to commemorate the truce signed between the Allies and Germany in World War I on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month of 1918. The first Armistice Day in the U.S. was celebrated on November 11th, 1919. All business was suspended for 2 minutes starting at 11 a.m., and parades and public gatherings were held to commemorate the occasion. Later, America also began honoring its unknown soldiers on Armistice Day, a tradition that continues today. At 11 a.m. every Veterans Day, a color guard ceremony represents all branches of the military at the Tomb of the Unknowns in Arlington National Cemetery. In 1954, the name was changed to Veterans Day, following a national campaign to have the day honor all veterans, not just those who served in World War I. And did you know, for 7 years, Veterans Day was actually celebrated in October? In 1968, Congress moved Veterans Day to the fourth Monday in October so that government employees could enjoy a long weekend. But in 1975, President Gerald Ford returned Veterans Day to November 11th due to the historical significance, and that's where it sits on the calendar today. And do you know the difference between Memorial Day and Veterans Day? Both of them honor those men and women who have served in the military, but Memorial Day honors America's war dead, while Veterans Day honors all American veterans, living and dead. The U.S. Census Bureau estimates that there are currently over 21 million living military veterans in the United States. More than 16 million of these served during times of war, while 5.5 million served during peacetime only. So this Veterans Day, don't forget to say thanks to some of the millions of men and women who have served our country.
And now for our special speaker today, Cameron Carruth. Mr. Carruth. Mr. Carruth is a 2011 Stanton County High School graduate. He is currently actively serving with the U.S. Army as a sergeant. He is stationed in Fort Carson, Colorado. Everyone, our special guest, Sergeant Cameron Carruth.
Can everybody hear me okay? All right, I'm not going to stand by the podium because I didn't write a speech. Because, as I'm sure all of our military veterans that are in the Army today, or not Army, are in the audience today, they can attest to this. We're supposed to be able to work on the fly under great amounts of pressure and know what we're doing. So, I didn't think I needed to write a speech because I work better under pressure. But Veterans Day, like that video said, is about honoring everybody who served in today and the past. Whenever you stand for the national anthem, whether you decide to place your hand over your heart or just stand there, that's your God-given right. And as I tell my soldiers, every time they have an opinion towards me, I'll tell them, well, that's great, because you know what's great about you serving in the Army? You're fighting for that opinion. So I'm not going to get upset if you don't put your hand over your heart, because that's your God-given right that I fight to defend. But what I think of when I stand there for the national anthem, I have to stand at attention. When you stand at attention, your head, your eyes, nothing's moving. You're staring directly at whoever's giving orders or that flag, or in the direction of the flag if there's no flag available. When I stare at the flag, I'm reminded of Veterans Day every day at 6:30 in the morning and at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. That is the times for morning formation, which start the business day, and close of business, which is at 5 o'clock. But I'm reminded at least twice a day of all the veterans that have fought before me and the veterans I'm currently serving with. So I implore you, next time you stand for the national anthem, just stare at the colors of the flag. And just think to yourself, how many people came before you and I that fought for your right to stand there and stare at that flag? Be happy for what you have, be grateful for what you have, because none of that would have been possible if my brothers and sisters before me didn't fight for that right. Okay, so I was asked a couple of questions by the National Honor Society. They wanted to know what I do in the Army, and I am an 88 Mike, which is a truck driver. I followed in the footsteps of my father, and my mom will attest to this, almost exactly the same footsteps, the whole step of the way. My mom and my dad got married in Johnson, me and Casey got married in Johnson. And I became an 88 Mike, and he was an 88 Mike. But I did it because I would know what I was doing in a sense already. But anyway, right now in Fort Carson, I am a section chief. A section chief is a non-commissioned officer, which that's what I am, as an E5 and above, a sergeant and above are non-commissioned officers. I am in charge of overseeing 5 other soldiers, 5 other 88 Mikes, while also filling in for my platoon sergeant, who is an E6, 1 rank above me, if he is ever gone. Which is kind of difficult for me because I'm in a platoon full of 92 Foxes, which are fuel handlers. So they fuel aircraft, trucks, small vehicles, generators, just basically put fuel in everything they do. But that's not my job, so I don't know very much. So like I said at the beginning of my speech, I didn't write a speech at all. I have to work on the fly when all the other 92 Fox non-commissioned officers are gone. So I have to basically wing everything I do when I'm alone. But it's fun, it's all part of the game, and I'm competent enough in myself and my soldiers below me that we can get the job done no matter what. But as a truck driver, you are tasked with supplying everybody, driving everybody. We're basically glorified delivery guys. Right now, I am tasked with an additional duty of handling ammunition for my whole battalion. So I have the responsibility of getting the ammunition to people on time, giving them the right amount, making sure it's all accounted for, and then turning it back in. And if at least 100 rounds are missing, I could probably go to jail. But not gonna stress out too much about that. But all in all, the Army's fun. I like it. I plan on staying in as long as God will let me, and as long as my body will let me. And I actually just sent an application to work for the White House Communications Agency, which is working at the White House or in the surrounding areas to provide direct support to the President of the United States. Speaking on this controversial election, I just want to know, with a show of hands, how many people voted for Donald Trump? Or if you couldn't vote yet and you supported him, raise your hand. Okay, so I voted for Hillary. Does anybody want to know why? Why would I be crazy enough to vote for Hillary Clinton? Well, one, you can thank Miss Ann Davis. She converted me into a liberal. But that's not the point anyway. So the whole point of the election was the lesser of two evils. And I dropped that. The whole point of the election was the lesser of two evils, right? The reason I justified Hillary Clinton as the lesser of two evils is because she was qualified to do the job. The way I look at it is this. I'm not gonna make a brand new soldier who just came out of basic training go handle all my ammo stuff to where he could possibly go to jail because he doesn't know what he's doing. But now, that's besides the point. The point I'm getting at is this, and I didn't support Trump during the election, but now that he is my commander-in-chief, I will support and defend him with my mind, body, and soul. Because that's just my obligation as a soldier, and that's just what I feel is right as a U.S. citizen. So the National Honor Society also wanted to know what soldier life was like. That right there is 1 week back in 2014 when I was in the field in Hawaii and it rained for a week straight. That is our tents that we sleep in, which are very nice. I'm sure some of the veterans can have worse living conditions than that. But it's a lot of fun. Like, I'm smiling right there. That was probably the 6th day of the field, so I had been gone from my wife for 6 days, no shower, and still smiling. Because it's a lot of fun. You develop camaraderie, you develop heartaches for everybody, but ultimately you come closer together. And that's not exactly what soldier life is like all the time. So, for a soldier, it's the easiest job in the world. Easiest job you'll ever have. All you have to do is listen to what you need to wear, what time you need to be somewhere, and what you're doing. That's it. That's all you gotta do. I call the 5 soldiers under me my children. And they're the same age as me. Some of them are even older than me. But I still call them my children because I tell them what to do. I tell them when to be somewhere, what they need to wear. It's just like my mother used to tell me, or my father used to tell me. But soldier life is pretty simple for the most part. It's basically like going to college. You're just on your own, but you still have somebody there to guide you. That right there is the gas chamber. I'm not going to say that's a lot of fun, but it is fun to get a competition going to see who can do the most push-ups while in the gas chamber with the mask off. So basically all it is a CS gas, and just burns your skin real bad and makes your face hurt, your eyes tear up, snot come out of your nose. But it's part of the training we have to do just in case there ever is a chemical, biological, radiological, or nuclear attack. Before I go any further with my slideshow, I do want to point out some significance to this uniform in accordance with Veterans Day and how I'm reminded 24/7, 365 that I am a soldier and that there were veterans that were better than me who fought before me. So, this right here is my dog tags, right? It's got 2 chains on it. One long one short one. Can anyone guess how many beads, how many beads are on the long chain? Who said that? I heard it. Did you say 360? Close, 365. So what does that resemble? Every day of the year. Because you're a soldier every day of the year. Now the short chain, how many are on there? How many? Close. 52. You cheated, Grandma. So there's 52. What does that number resemble? Weeks in a year, right? Okay. So 365, 52. My belt loop. How many belt loops do you think there are? 7. To resemble every single day of the week. So it has significance. Now, have you guys been on Facebook and you've seen the picture of the flag that looks like it's backwards, and it says, what does it say? It says, 99% of you will think this flag is backwards, but the other 1% will say otherwise. Has anybody seen that? So the reason they say the other 1% will say otherwise is because if you look on my right shoulder and look at the flag on my vest, it looks like it's backwards, right? So the significance of that is we wear the flag as if it is flying into battle, because we will never retreat and we will never surrender. That is the significance of it. So I'm reminded, one more thing. The U.S. Army, it's on my left side. Why? Close. Because I hold it near and dear to my heart. It's on my heart because it is one with me. I have to give my heart, mind, and soul into my job to defend all of your guys' rights as Americans. So, in conclusion, this uniform never lets me forget what I stand for and what the U.S. Army represents. And ultimately, I'm proud of it. Like I said, my dad served for 23 years, and I followed in his footsteps, so I had to like it somewhere. But I don't think it's working anymore. There we go. Okay, so this doesn't really have to do with Veterans Day, but for any of you who are thinking about joining the Army, I'm going to be a recruiter for a little bit, like my father. But that is in Hawaii, just a giant tree. And I think we were at a nature center or something, and Casey snapped that picture of me and one of my battle buddies, is what we call them, underneath the shirt. That is, so as a truck driver, it is one of my appointed duties and part of my career path in order to progress in my job description to be a chauffeur or a driver for officers. This is a flight orientation that my boss in Hawaii got to take around Oahu. And he was a very, very nice guy. He was a 1-star general. I got to go with him and basically just snap a lot of cool pictures of Hawaii's beauty from above. and this is one of those. That's called Chinaman's Hat. It's an illegal hike, but you can swim out there and climb to the top of it. You just can't get caught. That is Diamond Head, and it's just a giant crater that was created. And you can actually hike up to the top of that and go around the rim. This is another reminder of Veterans Day. Can anyone guess what this is? Close. So that is the Punch Bowl Cemetery. The Punch Bowl Cemetery is home to thousands and thousands and thousands of veterans who died during Pearl Harbor or during World War II. So I had the unique opportunity, being a driver for One Star, to go to numerous cemeteries here. And next to visiting Pearl Harbor, it's one of the most humbling things I've ever done since I've been in the Army my entire life. You get to see all these people who fought, died, or didn't even get the chance to fight because we were ambushed. And it's saddening, humbling, makes you feel 50 different types of emotions. And it makes you really happy that these people were so selfless to give up their lives for me to stand here today to speak to all of you. So these are Coast Guard ships, and actually, this got a laser on it. Okay, so if you look up, hold on, it might not be this picture. Okay, not this picture yet. Anyway, those are Coast Guard ships. I don't know a whole lot about the Coast Guard, so I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you and act like I know exactly what those ships do, but I just thought it was pretty cool to snap a picture of them. This is the east side of the island, I believe. Okay, this is the picture. So if you look in the middle, you see that long bridge going across the side, or the middle of the picture. If you look up towards the end of the bridge on the right side, if you look up, you'll see a white line. That is the Arizona Memorial. Does anybody know what the USS Arizona was? The battleship that sunk in Pearl Harbor. So that battleship is actually a gravesite to almost every single member that was attached to the USS Arizona. So every single December 7th, they place, if one of the remaining surviving crewmen dies, they have a large ceremony on the anniversary of Pearl Harbor, and they lower that serviceman's urn into the USS Arizona. I had the privilege of going, not attending an urn being dropped in, but to go to Pearl Harbor on an anniversary, and that is the most humbling experience. I said Punch Bowl was second. That was the most humbling experience. Again, it makes you think how happy you are to be alive and how happy you are to live in this great country. And that I'm so blessed to serve. And it's kind of an indescribable feeling. When you're in the moment, there's no words to be said. If that makes any sense. But if any of you guys are history buffs or just die-hard Americans or anything, if you ever get the chance to go to Hawaii, definitely go check out Pearl Harbor. It's a one-of-a-kind experience. So that on the left side is my boss, Brigadier General Brito. One of the nicest guys in the world. And I actually still talk to him from time to time, calls me. He goes out of his way to check up on how my daughter's doing, how my wife's doing. And then that was actually my re-enlistment, I believe. So I re-enlisted for 3 more years. Is either that or my promotion? I don't remember. But anyway, so this is cool. I snapped a photo through my MDGs, which are my night vision goggles, and got a picture of these guys, a bunch of infantry guys. They are about to hop on a CH-47, which is a Chinook, which is the cargo helicopter, that's what the CH stands for the U.S. Army. They're about to hop on a Chinook to rappel out of, which I've had the opportunity to do because I went to air assault school. That's it. You can't really see it, but on my left shoulder here is my air assault badge. I had the opportunity to go do that. That's me before we took off to the Big Island to go to Pukuloa Training Center, a large training center for the Army in Hawaii to shoot large projection missiles. That's the Big Island. That is Lava Rock, for anybody who's never seen Lava Rock. It was pretty cool. You can't walk out there. If you walk out there, they got pockets that will just suck you up. That is towards the top of Mount Kala. It's a hike, and it's the highest point on Oahu. So this is just one of the benefits I get as being in the Army. Well, actually, this was another benefit, driving for a 1-star. If you ever join the military, drive for a 1-star. Drive for a general. You get to do a lot of cool things. Who is that? Odell Beckham Jr. So I got to go to the Pro Bowl draft and got to meet every single one of them. Didn't get pictures with all of them because they're walking every which way, but basically this is just some of the perks you get. And that is the Eagles mascot. I am the Eagles fan. For all you Cowboys fans, who's that? Go ahead. Who is that? Tyler Lockett. I had an hour-and-a-half long conversation with Tyler because I told him we were freshmen at K-State together. And he was so gracious to tell me to come back after he was done signing things and we talked. And yep, we talked for about an hour. Pretty cool dude. That's me on the cover of ESPN. So I was taking a picture with Tyler Eifert, and I guess somebody snapped the picture and one of my buddies sent that to me. I thought it was pretty cool. That's me in Indonesia. We worked with the TNI, which is the Indonesian Army. And right here we're learning how to throw knives. So this guy was hitting everything. I threw it and the knife kind of went sideways and didn't do anything. But this was, again, another perk of being with the 1-star general. I got to go to several different countries. Didn't get to hang out in a whole lot of countries, but visit for short periods of time. That was me attempting to throw it. Didn't go anywhere. That's the inside of the CH-47. Up front there with little blue light is the cockpit. That is the backside of the CH-47. That's my baby. That is a MRAP. I don't know if you guys have any of these. I've been in the police force. You do? So the police use these as well. So that is a mine-resistant armored protected vehicle. That is what MRAP stands for. Is air sealed tight, so if the air system doesn't work, you can't use the truck because you'll be locked in if you manage to get the door shut, which you won't because the door weighs about 250 pounds. So yeah, that is what I would be driving if I ever got sent to Afghanistan, Iraq, any other foreign country where I'm called to serve. That is another picture in Hawaii. Actually, if you look, well, you guys might not be able to see from down there, but up where the sun seems like it's shining, close enough, you can see another island from the top of this mountain. It's called Coco Head. And all it is a bunch of railroad ties going almost at a straight up angle. And it's just a climb. That is the opposite side of Coco Head. This was one of the days Casey and I went to Pearl Harbor. This man was stationed at Schofield Barracks the day Pearl Harbor happened. He recollected his whole story to Casey and I, and pretty sure Casey was crying, but I almost cried. And if you ask Casey, I never cry, unless an animal dies. But he told us this whole story, and it's sad, because he said he was living life like a normal day. Him and his buddies were, I think he said they were playing cards and having a good time, and then all of a sudden, bang. Stuff happened, sirens started flying, everybody was scrambling everywhere. The airfield was just getting bombed and bombarded. And it's just one of those things you really can't relate to, because he saw so much, but as you can see, he smiled. And one of the things he told me was, thank you for your service, thank you for continuing to fight for everyone's freedom, and thank you for giving me a reason to smile. And that touched my heart, and that's what almost made me cry. Because I've never been to war. I don't know exactly what war is like. I've talked to my friends in the military about it, and they've told me stories. But for somebody who's went through something like that, to tell me that I'm making a difference, even though I've really never had to defend the country yet, that means the world to me. And this guy will forever have a soft spot in my heart. This is the picture of the hull, H-U-L-L, of the USS Arizona. So it's all decayed. If you look down at the bottom, don't remember, I think that was one of the guns that's decaying underneath the water. If you go to the USS Arizona, they'll boat you out to on top of this. And you won't hear anybody speak a word. Nobody is talking. Everybody's just remembering. And it's almost eerie, because you feel like you can hear things. The water's just moving. Oil's leaking out of the USS Arizona still today. Legend has it that once the last crew member of the USS Arizona passes away, that oil will finally stop leaking. Because they say it's the tears of the USS Arizona. To the memory of the gallant men here entombed and their shipmates who gave their lives in action on December 7th, 1941 on the USS Arizona. That list goes from one side of the wall all the way to the other. The wall is probably about as high as this, halfway across the curve. That is how many people are entombed. And every time one of the other service members or crew members dies, they will take off a portion of that and engrave their names in it. That is the USS Missouri. That is one of the guns that is mounted on it. Don't remember what caliber it fires. Pretty big round. But this was, the USS Missouri was the last ship that was placed into combat, but it never saw combat. and never once fired its rounds at another battleship. That's the full picture view of it. You guys saw the movie Battleship. That is the ship that was in the movie. It is not mobile at all. They made special effects to make it look like it was mobile, but that was the first time it had ever left the dock since it had been put out of commission. This is us before going on a ruck march. This is one of the times in my life, my career, that I hated the Army. That weapon that I'm holding right there is the M240 Bravo. It weighs 27 pounds, and I had to carry a 50-pound ruck along with it, and I had to carry it for 22 miles. So, next time the cross-country team likes to complain about running 5 miles, welcome to my world. This is Stairway to Heaven. I'm sure you guys have seen this on Facebook, a picture of somebody looking down a mountain with a bunch of stairs in Hawaii. That is what that picture is. It's Stairway to Heaven. It's a bunch of stairs going up the side of the mountain. Because at the top, which this isn't the outpost, but once you get past this building and you go past it, there's another outpost with a giant satellite on it, and it was either the Marines or the Navy that used to man the outpost for surveillance over the whole entire island. That is a picture of me going down Stairway to Heaven. And so this is another one of those things where the Army wasn't too fun. So if you see us, we all look really tan. That's not what that is. That's dirt and grime and no showers for 7 days. But I had the opportunity during this to work with the infantry unit and go through, this was a weapons squad course where they taught me how to maneuver as a group or a firing team with a M240 Bravo and how to attack different various positions. And me being a truck driver, I don't really need to know that, but you never know when I'm not going to be with my truck and something happens. So it's just good to know different things. But in closing, I will leave you all with what I would have told myself back in high school. So, if any of you knew me back in high school, I wasn't the greatest kid. I like to mess around a lot, play around a lot. Miss Chenoweth knows this. But I never had any ambition to join the Army. Never, not once. Because my dad was in it. He hardly got to be home, but I wasn't old enough to see why he was never home. But back in high school, I would have told myself, continue to do what you're doing, straighten out, and don't be afraid to fail. Because failure isn't the end of everything. And I can attest to that. Because I went to college first, and I failed out of college. Why? Because I feel like I was too immature, and I didn't really have a knack for school. But ultimately, it led me to my career today, where 1% of the United States is made up of the military. Within that 1%, the Army makes up about 30% of the United States military. Within that 30% of the U.S. Army, I have put myself within the top 5%. Why I say that is because this rank right here usually takes on average about 4 to 5 years to earn. I earned it in 2.5 years. I earned it in 2.5 years because, I'm not gonna lie, probably because of my wife standing in the back, to be honest. Because I don't think I would have ever shaped up like I have now if it wasn't for her. But I earned it for being respectful, knowing my customs and courtesies, saying hi to everybody, good morning to everybody, knowing the right people, and doing what I'm supposed to do without any argument. Because I love my job. It's the easiest job in the world, like I said earlier. And I would tell myself back in high school to just keep striving for what you're doing. Whatever you do in life, you will succeed. Don't give up. If you fail, you'll find something else you'll be even better at. Because it really happened. So, with that being said, does anyone have any questions of me? Don't be afraid to ask. Not that intimidating. Okay, well, that's all I have. Thank you all for listening to me ramble on. I know I didn't write a speech, but I feel like it's better to give a speech from the heart than it is to put it on some paper. And if I put it on paper, I probably would have forgot it all anyway. But thank you all for supporting me, supporting my battle buddies, supporting the Marines, the Air Force, the Navy, and the Coast Guard. And most of all, thank you for being American citizens, loyal to the end. And remember what that Pledge of Allegiance says. We are indivisible. No matter who is our president, we are indivisible. Because we are one nation under God.
Thank you very much, Cameron, for taking your time to come back to Stanton County and sharing your stories with all of us. I would like to share with you all a brief history of our flag and being respectful. For more than 225 years, the American flag has been a source of pride, inspiration for millions of citizens. On June 14, 1777, the Continental Congress passed an act to establish an official flag for the new nation. These 13 stars and 13 stripes represent the United 13 states who have been together for independence. The colors and symbols of the flag were chosen to correspond to the national seal that has already been developed by this time. Red stands for hardiness and valor. White stands for purity and the innocence. Blue stands for vigilance, perseverance, and justice. The stars are a symbol of the heavens and the goal that man has had through the ages of connecting with the divine. The stripes are symbolic of the rays emanating from the sun, representing the dawn of a new beginning. The reason we stand and take our hats off during the national anthem is to show respect for our flag and anthem. Also, if there is a flag in the building, it is disrespectful to not take your hat off. The removal of the hats originates from the knights of the 10th century, when they would lift their visors to show their faces to the king, to show friendliness and respect. They would use their right hand to lift up their visors as a sign of submission. To this day, we use the same traditions that they used to show respect for our flag and anthem, including placing our right hand over our heart or using our right hand to salute a superior officer. Please join me in watching a video to better represent why we show respect to our veterans.
Me drawing the play, me recruit real hard, me work real hard. I didn't earn the chair. These guys, when they were your age, interrupted their life. They paused their education. They changed their career. And they gave their life for those chairs. You guys understand what I'm saying? Not us. Not us. And so when the anthem is played, we're going to stand like grown men, and we're going to honor men like this that gave their life so we could have a chair to sit in. And in the 2.5 minutes that the song is played and somebody sings it, or the music is played, we're going to stand at attention and honor of these men. And we're not going to sway back and forth. We're not messing with our short. We're not messing with our jersey. Those 2.5 minutes we're going to give to the people that earn these chairs. Because that freedom allows us to do what we're doing. I don't care if you sing, but I want you to know the words. And I want you to be respectful of the words. Because those words represent people's lives. And when we stand, we're going to put our right hand over our heart and our left hand behind our back. And we're not moving. And we're not looking down, and we're not swaying. We're standing still with perfect body language. And all that we're thinking about is these men who earned the right for these chairs to be here.
And you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly seen, and the rockets red, the bombs bursting there, gave proof through the night that the land was still there. No Satan's dance our sable banded way, o'er the land of the free and the hope of the
Mrs. Michelle Canning will share what it meant to have a family member serving in our armed forces.
Good morning. Once again, my name is Michelle Canny, and I've lived here for 16 years. I have the honor of being Mrs. Canny to many of you. And today, you guys, some of you students, are going to get to see a different side of me. Recently, my sister Rachel Johnston, her and I were here last year, a year ago, and we had the honors of coming here for, she was in the military for 6 years in the Air Force. And we got to come and celebrate, and I got to sit right down below, and I got to watch her just revel in the joy of celebrating her. And she shed some tears, I shed some tears, and now I'm up here talking. So the picture up here, that's my family. And you can see there's a lot of them. The gentleman in the wheelchair is my grandpa. He passed away 5 years ago, the day after Veterans Day. I got to spend Veterans Day, his last one, with him in the hospital bed, and it was such an honor. So this day is always a little bit of emotional for me. In the wheelchair there, we started out with him. He was in the Army, and he guarded the White House. So he always told us stories about guarding the White House and how the First Lady would have the soldiers come in, and she would cook them dinner. How times have changed. Okay, next. Wrong way. Maybe. Okay, so I want to introduce to you some of my family members. When I was a little girl, Veterans Day had a whole different meaning to me because it was actually my birthday. So let's say it was pretty selfish. It was one of those things that I woke up and I thought, all right, you know, all these parades and celebrations, it's because I was born. But not so, and as I've gotten older, it has a whole new meaning, and to be honest with you, it really doesn't even matter that it's my birthday today. This is my cousin, David. He went into the Marines. I need to work on my presentation skills here. Let's see. Yeah, can you guys help me out? Okay, next. Okay, well anyways, I'll just tell you about him. So I have a cousin that was in the Marines. I have two other cousins that went into the Marines, and there's pictures up there, but I don't know if they're coming up. And then my sister, she went to the Air Force for 6 years, and her husband is now in the Air Force flying the A-10 Warthog. And just to give you guys a little idea of what it's like, I always wanted to go into the military. I never did. It was just something that I went to K-State and graduated there, but my sister decided to. And so I'm on the other side of what it's like to be in the military. I guess I would call the support team, the crew, the pit crew. There were many times when 9/11 hit, I knew things were going to change for our family because I had 6 family members in the military, and I knew things were going to get really tough there for a while. And as soon as 9/11 hit, we got the phone call that my sister was to go over to Iraq and to serve. And so she served 2 terms overseas. And I don't know about you guys, but if you've ever had a family member in the military, all of a sudden things start getting really serious. And you do a lot of waking up in the middle of the night and praying and just wondering if everything's okay. And then when you don't get that phone call and you wonder, things really change. So first of all, I would like to give everybody here that's a family member, like a mom or a wife or a husband or just a neighbor that has shown support. Guys, I know the battlefield is real at home too, because when that family member goes overseas, there's a lot of worry and faith that kicks in. And last year, my sister's husband, he went to Iraq. He flies the A-10 Warthog. And so he went over there, and my sister moved here with her 2 little boys, and my mom and I got to experience what it's like to raise 2 little boys and to support my mom, or to support my sister while her husband is over in battle. And let me tell you, it is real. The battle is real and it is hard. And so all of you that have, my theory is behind every successful military soldier, there's a successful team behind him. And so I would like to give all of you that have supported, please stand up, all the spouses, all of the neighbors, all of the moms that have shed many tears. I know because my mom would cry every day. Stand up. Let's give them a hand. You know, guys, these people, they have daily lives to where they go about and they do their job, and they sometimes are pretty good about putting on a front that everything's okay. But behind the scenes, there's tears, there's worry, and sometimes you just don't know if that loved one's going to come home. So I'm not, oh, there's my sister. She's dressed up as Rosie the Riveter, and she was in the Air Force for 6 years, and let me tell you, she looks really sweet, but you don't want to cross her. She was awesome. She was a military cop, and that's my mom, and I would consider her to be my hero as well. Next slide. Okay, that's her husband, Jeremy. While he was gone this last year, he received Lieutenant Colonel. He was pinned, and so we got to watch it through, Skyping and things. And so they have 2 little boys, and we pinned the little boys, and then we gave Rachel a certificate. So very cool there. Okay, there's their boys, Bryce and Lucas. Those are my little nephews, ornery as can be. And let me tell you, trying to help her raise those 2 little boys, wow, lots of energy. Okay, and this is when he came home. He came home in May, And as you can see, the joy those boys had when he came off the airplane, you just are speechless. So that is it, and I just want to say, you guys, thank you so much for serving our country. And I'm a foreign language teacher, and one of the privileges I've had in the past is I've traveled to about 15 different countries. And I have seen a lot of different, I love culture, I love languages, but I'm always so glad to be back home in the United States. I feel like you guys, we live in the best country there is. And if it weren't for you, we wouldn't have that. So thank you so much, and God bless.
Thank you, Mrs. Kenny. Right now, please join me in a moment of silence as this is the 11th day, the 11th month, and the 11th hour, and the 11th minute. As we have a moment of silence for our passed away veterans. Thank you. And now for our NHS Secretary, Heather Gillian.
Thank you, Mrs. Canny. And now we'll have Mr. David Bowen, who also has a family member serving in our military, and will share some thoughts with us today.
Thank you, guys. Happy Veterans Day to all of you out there. I'd like to just start by telling you how I started my day today. Excuse me. I have a grandfather. He will be turning 90 in about 2 weeks. I started my day by calling that guy and telling him, thank you. He served in 2 of our country's wars, and he played a big role in developing me as a man and who I am today, and that guy is just a strong leader. I needed to call and tell him thank you, along with 3 of my 5 brothers that all served. My brother Sean went into the Marines when he was 18, right out of high school. My brother Brad went into the Navy when he was 18, right out of high school. And my brother Jason went into the Army. If you listened, all 3 of them went into different branches. Those of you sitting down here, that makes for a very interesting Thanksgiving and Christmas for us. We hear a lot of yeah back and forth about which one's which. I would like to just say that I'm thankful for all of our veterans. Today it reminds me that we're free because of all of you that were willing to put aside your differences and go and fight for a common cause. What and why? Today's Veterans Day, and we're here to honor all the men and women that fought for us. Some defend us here, some defend us on nations abroad. I have a brother that's stationed over in Germany right now. He's been over there for 3 years. They do just as much work in other countries as they do here for us. Freedom of speech and freedom of assembly, 2 of which I'm taking part of right now, gives us the right to go into our churches on Sundays and to have religious beliefs that suit you and not are all just across the nation as one. Many of you are here with us today, and these people all contributed in different ways. We heard of a way that our speaker contributes to the military. We heard of other ways that people, even if you are serving or out of the military now, you still have contributed to what we're taking a part of today. It's important to talk about how people from different backgrounds come together. I like, sorry, what was your name again, sir? Cameron. I like that he brought up the political views on that. It's a strong subject. But what's even stronger is the statement that he said that wasn't his president, but it is now. And you will fight for him and defend him with everything you got, because we are one. Okay, we have to put aside differences and come together. I just want to end with a thought here. I talked to my grandpa this morning, and I told him that I was going to have to speak, and I needed a good quote, Grandpa. That's what I said. My grandpa said, give me 2. He said, what do you think of when you think of a hero? I said, I don't know, Grandpa. What do you say? He said, a hero is someone that walks into danger over and over again willingly. And I thank all of you men and women down here for being heroes for us. Because what you do is not easy on a daily basis. And you get up every day and you still go and you fight for what you know is right. The last one, this one, I had to ask him what he meant by this. Very strong statement. My grandpa, Doc Bowen, said, all gave some. Some gave all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bowen. We also have Ty Hudgens, a Stanton County graduate, to share his recent experiences of serving in the Army.
Good morning. Not a public speaker, so I have to watch what I say up here and keep the school appropriate, so I'll work on that, but see what we can do. I'd like to thank the NHS first for putting this on for us veterans. The community comes together like this, does this. It's a great thing. One of the reasons we do it, and thank you there. I also like to thank the rest of you veterans for being here and all that you've done and how you served. Guess I'll start with the bio. I was in the U.S. Army. I did 12 years. I did 3 combat tours in Iraq. I also was an 88 Mike, initially started with. It was spearhead logistics all the way. Reclassed the 88 November Transportation Management Coordinator. And then under President Bush, we came up with a new MOS for sending us into combat, which was 00 Foxtrot. It doesn't even have a name, but it's something you can classify as SAS. My time in Iraq was from 2004 to 2006, 2004, 2005, 2006, 2008, and then 2010 and 11. I was a staff sergeant. Daily life for a soldier is different. It's always going to be a different challenge, different thing going on. To me, the biggest thing about being in daily life as a soldier was cohesion, being part of a team, facing those challenges together, and moving forward that way. No matter what to accomplish, you work together to do it. The big thing that Veterans Day means to me is the camaraderie you share with those that serve next to you in uniform, brothers, sisters alike. I can sit here and tell you stories about different missions, different things we did and everything else, but to me that's not what it's about. It's about these men and women that served, stand there next to you and everything you did together. It's also about you citizens back here in the United States, serving you, the support you give. A couple things they asked me today, what I'd like the school kids to know is about the military, is why to do it. The biggest thing is the camaraderie, being a part of a family, a bond, something bigger than yourself. Only 1% serve in the military. That's an elite group. They put themselves out there. That to me is the biggest and best part, is what you do there. You get a lot of life growth, you get a lot of experience, you get a lot of belongings, and you get a sense of professionalism in what you do. That'll carry on with you forever. I don't know who put this on, that's all I got.
Thank you, Ty. Now Weston Wilkerson will honor our veterans with the song Letters from Home by John Michael Montgomery.
Dearest son, it's almost June. I hope this letter catches up with you and finds you well. It's been dry, but they're calling for rain. Everything's the same old same in Johnsonville. Stubborn old daddy ain't said too much, but I'm sure you know he sends his love. And she goes on in a letter from home. I hold it up and show my buddies like we ain't scared and our boots ain't muddy. They all laugh, there's something funny about the way I talk. sends her best, y'all. Fold it up, put it in my shirt, pick up my gun and get back to work. And it keeps me driving on, waiting on. Letters from home. Dearest love, it's almost dawn. I've been lying here all night long, wondering where you might be. I saw your mama and I showed her the ring. Man on the television said something, so I couldn't sleep. But I'll be alright, I'm just missing you. This is me kissing you. X's and O's and a letter from home. Fold it up and show my buddies like we ain't scared and our boots ain't muddy. They all laugh 'cause she calls me honey, but they take it hard, 'cause I don't read the good parts. Fold it up, put it in my shirt, pick up my gun and get back to work. And it keeps me driving on, waiting on. Letters from home. Dear son, I know I ain't written. Sitting here tonight alone in the kitchen, it occurs to me I may not have said it, so I'll say it now. Son, you make me proud. I hold it up and show my buddies like we ain't scared and our boots ain't muddy, but no one laughs. There ain't nothing funny when a soldier cries, so I just wipe my eyes. Fold it up and put it in my shirt, pick up my gun and get back to work. And it keeps me driving on, waiting on. Letters from home. This is me kissing you. X's and O's and a letter from home. Fold it up and show my buddies like we ain't scared and our boots ain't muddy. They all laugh 'cause she calls me honey, but they take it hard, 'cause I don't read the good parts. Fold it up, put it in my shirt, pick up my gun and get back to work. And it keeps me driving on, waiting on. Letters from home. Dear son, I know I ain't ready. Sitting here tonight alone in the kitchen, it occurs to me I may not have said it, so I'll say it now. Son, you make me proud. I hold it up and show my buddies like we ain't scared and our boots ain't muddy, but no one laughs. There ain't nothing funny when a soldier cries, so I just wipe my eyes. Fold it up and put it in my shirt, pick up my gun and get back to work. And it keeps me driving on, home.
Mrs. Sonny Beard, our Stanton County Junior Senior High School principal, will provide us with some closing remarks. Thank you.
I have the best job in the world. Every day when I'm driving to Johnson City, I know that I do, and every day when I'm driving back, I know that I do too. I'm just looking forward to next year when I don't have to drive back and forth, so that will be nice. What a tough act to follow the whole way through, but I would just like to thank, first of all, the National Honor Society, and I would like all of the members to please stand up so that we can recognize you. So much extra time on this, and it just shows with every second that it was planned. Also, on the heels of that thank you, we want to thank the National Honor Society sponsors, Mrs. Kelly Sykes and Ms. Tiffany Chenoweth. Please stand. At the same time, everyone else who's been involved, the other staff members, Mr. Bowen, Mrs. Canny, Mr. Used, and all of the band members and those who were singing, that just added to it as well, so we thank you for that. Also, our speakers, Cameron, thank you for challenging us to think of Veterans Day every single day. We need to do that, saying thank you every single day. And if you haven't heard the saying, what if you woke up today and you only had what you were thankful for yesterday? This is a big one. We need to remember this one every single day. Thank you for coming back, and Stanton County is proud of you, that's for sure. Tonight, the same thing. Thank you for bringing to us the message that camaraderie is so important. We need to remember that every day as well. And so we're also proud to have you here today. To do here today is to celebrate our veterans. And there's a poem that I found, and it's by Cindy Sweeney, and I don't know her, but she expressed my feelings very well. Dear veterans, those of us who have not served will never fully understand the sacrifices you have made, both during times of peace and during times of war. And we will never understand what you were required to do, or especially how you did it. We will never fully understand the depth of your scars, but what we can offer you is this. We see you, we see your humanity, and we give you our love that is gentle and patient and healing. With blessings and our deepest gratitude, we ask that you remember that you are loved. Thank you.